Hello and welcome back to the Oceanic Challenger Series 2019. Once again, I'm eJim. This is Vandy. I've told you 17 times. Huh?
Did you just forget your name?
No, I said I'm eJim.
Ah, okay. Hello, eJim.
Hello, Vandy.
Sorry. I'm just giving you a hard time because I can.
Yeah, sick. Okay. No, this matchup is going to be Bombers. I just read Mprox. That is absolutely not going to be the case.
No.
Bombers versus the
Dire
Cubs.
Cubs.
Currently sitting undefeated, top of the table, 5-0, looking to extend that one. Kweku played last week and he will be playing here again. Dragku played a couple of weeks there, but he's not going to be seeing the Rift this week. I'm not sure. He was tweeting angry things at me last week. Potentially he's still in China. I'm not too sure. But can they remain with their undefeated streak? Time will tell.
Have to wait and see. They are the team to beat at the moment. They actually did get pretty close last week. It was pace for pace, but eventually they managed to pull on. It's really weird with Dire Cubs. Even though they feel like they're behind, they just know their win conditions. They know what they have to do to get back into games. It's that experience.
They also do, they play, super standard, front to back sort of stuff. They have had, a fairly successful Sona Tarek game. They play stuff that scales fairly well, and they're not, a risky team that's going to, throw everything away in the early game and be like, yeah, let's play Elise LeBlanc, and if it doesn't work, we're screwed. That's just not how it works. But Bombers, on the other hand, much more willing to try a couple of different things. And I will say, out of all of the consistent rosters, out of all the teams that switch roster week after week, and there has been a lot of them, I feel like Bombers have been the most successful ever since they brought in a bunch of the ex-OPL guys, right? Seb, now on the roster, looks super good. But today we're missing two of them, right? Frey is not going to be in the mid lane. It is actually going to be Gamble. And Luch, now been promoted to AD carry of the OPL team, so he won't be seeing the Rift here either.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. So you often talk about these changes that they go through. I feel like for once, Bombers are feeling weaker for it.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I'm sure Gamble and Zenk, we've seen Zenk do quite well. Gamble, we saw him play before, but it's going to be hard to adjust. Week on week, you're getting new people in, new people out, but it hasn't really phased us. This time, though, you're actually losing. This teammate ain't coming back. You haven't practiced with him.
Yeah, Luch is playing OPL from this bleed out, right? This is not going to be returning to the team. Zenk, AD carry main, coming in, gets to play his role. He's been facilitating all over the Rift as best as he can, trying to plug holes in the ship that has been
he's done everything in terms of roles.
I feel like, has he done everything? Has he played top?
No. He's done support. He's done mid.
He's done jungle.
And he's done...
Did he do mid?
No, he hasn't done mid. He's done...
I think he hasn't done the solo lane.
So he's done 3.
He's done support, AD carry, and jungle. Looked much better in the bottom lane than it did in the jungle pool. That Camille game.
That's still pretty good to plug up all those holes.
Yeah.
In so many different roles.
Gamble is going to be returning to the mid lane for them once again this week as well. Last time we saw him in the mid lane, he did play a Victor game, and it was Rumble before that. So a fairly interesting champion pool that he has potential to whip out here. So interested to see what he does against the likes of the Dire Cubs.
Okay, Tarek being taken up, perhaps respecting. We've seen a lot of that Tarek Sona, or even just regular Sona. But to ban out the Tarek, you're really respecting that. And then also the Xayah.
Yeah.
It's like you're banning one half of the pairs that we normally see.
Yeah, don't want to play against Xayah Rakan, don't want to play against Tarek Sona. Interesting bans on the other side of the coin. Nico hits the bench, as does Yuumi. So
I'm going to really test your memory. You know how you said you couldn't remember the first couple games? Is Yuumi 0% win rate tonight? I'm really testing you.
No.
There's one win with it?
Production can check, and I've now called them out, so they kind of have to check. But I'm not...
I'm curious.
Did we see it game number 1?
Yeah, we've seen it every game besides this game.
Have we? So Legacy just lost. No, Legacy won. Sorry. Order just lost.
I'm testing you.
Order... No, what is going on? Order just won against the Yuumi.
Yeah.
And then, actually, I have literally no idea. I'm going to not pretend that I know. I'll figure it out. Either someone's going to tell me in my ear, and I'm going to throw my pen away for the 7th time tonight.
Or at the end of this, I'll calculate on the train. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll tweet it out.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Just because normally I write down what we do, but honestly, I haven't. I don't know why. I think I'm just too hot. No.
2 weeks on the OCS, and you're getting bloody lazy. That is... Got to be a Silas first pick. To just change the topic real quick. Rise potentially is going to be the answer here for the Dire Cubs.
So Rise actually let through. Same with the Silas picks that we often do see banned away. That is the advantage of having the Tarek, the Xayah bans.
I'm laughing because production just... he just says, I don't even know what question you asked, so I can't get you here. That's all right. Look, it doesn't even matter. It's fine.
We're having a good time tonight.
It's fine. That's what's important. I agree.
Sivir being the ADC of choice. Not going to be paired up with the Yuumi. Sona is still available. We saw it very, very successful in that last game if they do want to play that one out.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. She still pairs very, very nicely with things like the Nautilus, the Galio.
I feel like much more of a Mog special to be able to just play the Sona with kind of everything. I expect Corporal to potentially go towards something more like Sivir Rakan. Probably much more his wheelhouse there.
I was thinking the Rakan. I mean, Zaya's banned up. It doesn't mean that the Rakan still won't work very, very well. Ooh, but Morgana was left up. Finally, it seems like Morgana just fell off now that everyone's so interested in Yuumi.
Yeah, I feel like comparing some of the metas we've seen in the past, just like this OCS, Kindred first couple of weeks, Mega Prio fell off a cliff. Morgana, same sort of thing. Yeah, we have seen a single ban, I think, today, but hasn't been super highly prioritized. Haven't locked it in, of course. They have 3 seconds to change their mind, but I expect that they will. There it is.
Alrighty. I mean, that's very, very standard. You're not really giving away anything. It's a strong bot lane still. Wait a minute. Are you? It's a hover.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't play with me like that. I was like, no way.
Into blind Sylas, and Anivia would certainly be a choice. I wonder... Sorry, go.
I was just saying, maybe it's just like a YOLO variety bucket kind of night.
Yeah, I wonder if you can wall Sylas chain. Like, so like, chronology.
Which one? Like his...
Anivia wall.
No,
like, no, the chain 2. No, like,
okay. Yeah, like...
The latch.
Yeah.
Right? So he, like, dashes, then he latches onto you.
Does it go through walls?
Well, no, because the thing is, you can probably, like, if he chains you and you wall him just before it lands, the animation of the wall is long enough to kind of deny the dash.
Doesn't it just drag you to the wall and just leave you there?
That's if the wall exists before the chain, but I'm saying wall as you get chained.
Oh, God.
I think that would be
Why
how
are
it
we
works.
asking ourselves all these tough questions?
I feel like that's some next level counterpicks.
That's your homework. I'll do the Yuumi homework.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll compare notes.
I don't think I have a way of figuring that out without playing a game of League of Legends, but...
Yeah, what?
we shall see. We shall see. Bunch of bans being rattled off now. Solar laners get hit with the Irelia and Fiora.
Here's that Tahm-Kench.
Yeah.
It's really weird. With the Tahm-Kench changes that came through, everyone was crying that support got hit the hardest, but that really opened up his viability in top lane. But so far, no one's been willing to try or experiment with it too much in the OCS.
Yeah, at least in solo queue and some things internationally, you do see a bit more of the Tahm-Kench top lane. It's super obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like
I hate it. I'm like, why am I losing to this?
You right-click the enemy at level 2. Like, that's it. You win, I guess. You just kind of eat them, and it's like percentage health damage.
It's also gross, the noises that he makes. I'm like, I don't want to be dying in this manner.
It's so visceral.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. That's a disaster. Yeah, interesting. Okay, Jarvan's going to be the lock-in.
Okay, so very, very standard. Dire Cups, as you said, they just open up their book. What's standard that we can play? What's kind of in meta? The Braum, it's very, very strong. We haven't seen him for a while. It's more just to fill that sort of engaged situation. But pairs pretty strongly with the Sivir.
I feel like Braum is actually a pretty baller lock-in into a Morgana. Because that matchup super sucks. That feels mega bad to be Braum into Morg. Of course, Morg can go mid lane. Sylas can go top side. As we say, Kindred priority is just fallen off a cliff. Seb wants to have some fun this game.
It's like Bombers were like, week 1, what was everyone playing? Hey, let's take him up again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's mentioned before, he's very unhappy when he gets put on the likes of the Sejuani. Doesn't have a fun time, so gets a fun champ in the Kindred, able to lock that one down.
And Bushy Boo Boo with the Poppy. I like Poppy, but I don't know how I feel. So it could potentially, it's Poppy into the... Is it going to be the Gangplank lock-in?
Yeah, most likely going to be the last
I'm not sure if Ryze
pick.
wanted to go top or mid just yet. Okay, so it'll be Ryze mid, and then Corporal is picking that one for Kweku.
Yep. Okay, so back to the Renekton for the Dire Cubs on the top side of the map. Yeah, kind of expected here for the Dire Cubs.
Except for the Braum. Like, that's more just like something reactive, something that they just saw. They were like, that's going to... They're definitely picking it for ideas and engage out of lane, because as you said, Morgana, as long as you can read the signs, you can pretty much spell shield a lot of that CC coming your way.
Yeah, potentially. And I do say, from Bomber's side of the coin, it may just be Bushy Boo Boo training back into the mid lane once again. Gamble, happy to pick up the Morgana if he's the support. Because Bushy... He had a damn good game on Sylas last time.
Yeah, he did it last time. This was, remember what I was talking about, where I was like, remember where the champ thing was broken in Bushy Boo Boo? He's not playing
it was like all over the place. Yeah.
He's not playing support Sylas. He would be taking it.
Yeah, so 20 seconds is past, so this is going to be the lock-in. And maybe it's like, you know what I mean? Because Gamble is definitely like written down on this sheet. Bushy Boo Boo is the support, and Gamble is their mid laner. Like, they have ordered up in that lineup intentionally in champs, so like, but potentially they're just like, if we get Silas, we much prefer to put Bushy in the mid lane. And
I like that. It gives them that flexibility.
yeah, it's exactly what they go towards this time. So Zenk and Gamble being able to fill out the absent bottom lane here for the Bombers Academy, going up against the undefeated Dire Cubs. Certainly a tough ask here, but
I see a lot of promise in what Bombers have, but they do have that burden of execution that we like to bring up. It's definitely not going to be as cut and dry as what Dire Cubs have picked.
And these guys have that bloody top-tier quantum computer mega load time PC gaming going on right now. Instant loading
Did
screen.
MLG hook them up?
Oh, MLG.
With his gamer name.
Gamer PCs for some gamers.
Some good gamers.
Some gamers able to zoom on into the Rift this time.
You know, that
That's a bit of a
Silas
laugh.
skin, that reminds me of, did you ever play Soul Calibur? That fighting game?
Yes.
Does it remember that Jester guy? I can't remember his name, but I think he uses like claws or chains. He looks exactly like that skin though.
Okay, I don't remember. I played Soul Calibur 4.
And he's like really floppy and he does the same things that kind of Silas does.
He's really floppy.
He is, because
Yeah,
he's
okay.
just like,
Are they?
I can't remember what his name is. Yeah, someone in chat will definitely know who I'm talking
We'll
about.
figure it out. Are they eyes that he's carrying on his chain?
I didn't see.
I believe
They
they
look
were.
like beads to me. Okay, a little bit of a nice trade coming out for Gamble. It's not going to count for much. No Klepto, though.
Fishes for the bind. Unfortunately, doesn't land it. Get back hits him in the face with a common and a rune prison. A little bit rough there.
Andrew
Zenk
also.
gets chunked.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Andrew happy to take the trade there.
Not a nice start for the Bombers bottom lane here. Walking into lane with a couple of chunks there. Not enough to burn through any sort of potions or anything, of course. No fleet footwork or healing from the support is going to be able to get this one back up, but Doran's Blade will do a little bit there. Thank you, Mr. Observer.
Oh, yeah, that makes it much easier. But look at this from Andrew and Corporal. They were waiting in that try to see if their pass would cross and perhaps dish out even more damage onto Zenk Gamble, but they took the safe way back to lane.
Yeah, Brawn level 1, notoriously good. Even if Morg banding lines, they probably will be able to win that fight. They do have Summoner disadvantage, given that they have the TP versus the Ignite, so maybe they're kind of disincentivized a little bit to go towards any sort of early shenanigans, but given that their jungler starts topside, they get to start in lane and kind of just able to play with a little bit of freedom down here.
I squinted at the screen really hard on the Silas just then, and I think they're eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
that's
you're right.
gross.
Ew. Imagine hitting someone with eyeballs.
Yeah,
Man.
feels very ineffective as a weapon.
Ow, stop hitting me. It's very squishy. Alrighty, bit of trade from Get Back, really abusing the fact that he's got that range early. To be expected.
Yep, just kind of hitting him with a couple of auto attacks. Bushy Boo Boo trying to hold on as best as possible. Jungler's doing kind of opposite paths here, ending up at the blue buff of each, but of course on the other side of the map as one another. So kind of expected that Udisoft rather would have a better time ganking early, but bottom lane has pushed in. Not really a whole lot of opportunities there. Seb on the other side would have to go for a very deep wraparound gank onto the Renekton if he was to look for it. But eyes on Get Back in the mid lane. CC
very
can be there
pushed.
from Silas.
Seb wanting to make the play, Bushy Boo Boo across
Here
the
we
wall,
go.
trying to flank him up, knocking him up, getting a good bit of damage. Get Back is fighting there. Udisoft is very, very low. He tries to
gets
do
it.
the drag to knock them up,
Oh.
and he has to flash.
Seb?
Seb is keen
Oh.
for the kill. He gets the double.
And Seb just styling on the Cubs here. Double kill to start this one off. Only 3 minutes into the game. You saw Udisoft, he's kind of walking to the play. He's like, look, man, I'm on 200 HP. I don't want to fight, but Get Back gets caught out. Flashes just a little bit too late and baited into the fight. They lose it massively. Seb doesn't know the Renekton's in the bush. This is kind of whack.
Whoa, Kweku, he gets the stun. Seb is trying to get away. It
Oh.
doesn't even matter. Kweku picks up the double buff.
Yeah, that is just very nicely played from Kweku. May just get the Rift Scuttler as well.
Also had the vision to know that Shaw was waiting for him in that bush, so not going to do face checking of his own.
That's just a smarts play.
Buff transfer complete.
That is just a hella smarts play. Goes down, abuses the vision. 450 gold for the kill. Gets himself the double buffs, and now Shaw is probably going to be having a much rougher time than he otherwise would against the extra damage that Renekton's now flaunting.
Teleport burn by Bushy Boo Boo to get him back into lane as well, so he doesn't lose tempo in his lane. Ooh.
Oh.
Yep, that's... I mean, it's to be expected. Kweku, he knows he can.
It's also like a press the attack Renekton as well.
Gross.
You do see Conqueror variants, but
Did you just hear that noise?
no.
Oh, it sounded like a cat meowing.
Oh.
It was like, meow. I don't know. Was that Poppy?
I didn't hear it, so I have literally no idea.
Oh no. Now I sound crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sucks.
Agree.
Don't you dare.
Shaw has just tipped back to lane. Fortunately, it was way too low to be able to deal with that. When I was saying that you do see the Conquer of Air into the Renekton, but if you have Fury, you can insta-proc that with the Empowered W there and kind of just start popping off of the damage meters. He's going to recall and spend the gold he's got earlier
looking
with
again
the
to get
shutdown.
back, knows that he doesn't have the flash available. Starts to open up. Bushy Boo Boo now
He might be
with
dead.
the follow-up damage. He misses the follow-up connection. Seb gets the kill. Kweku now on
Flash.
the flash. Being burned, and it's Seb that's been taken out. No flash available. Bushy Boo Boo retreats to his turret.
Yeah, once again, Kweku comes in as the savior for the Dire Cubs. 2 kills now in his back pocket, has taken down Seb twice, but doesn't negate the fact that Get Back is having a very rough time in this mid lane. Yes, CS advantage is in his favor, but certainly just kind of chain dying to ganks by the Kindred right now. Braum showing his face in the mid lane means that Shaw will just back away. Everything kind of returns to normalcy somewhat, but a lot of action around this mid lane, but traded back and forth.
Kweku doing a very, very good job of keeping eyes on Shaw, utilizing that seed over there to give him some vision. Is Bushy Boo Boo now just kind of their one-trick Silas player if they need it?
Maybe. Certainly looks good.
Yeah. It's good to have. Get Back doing a great job of farming though. And
He was
Shaw-
also a Liss Goblin.
A what, sorry?
A Liss Goblin. When
Oh,
Liss was good,
yeah,
he's
I
like...
love this on
Yeah, he's like good at like the flex, because he's definitely like a fill player in solo queue. More often than not, you see him in solo lanes, despite being like a support main, can play solo lanes much better than most others. Very nice
Flash
stun.
to open up things. Kweku knocked against the wall. Now forced to use the ultimate. Seb dishing out some damage. Gets the shutdown.
Yep.
Gets the revenge kill.
Steadfast presence the entire time, denying any sort of escape there from Kweku. So a very nice gank setup once again from the Bombers. Seb is finding access to multiple lanes, and this Kindred is just steamrolling the map right now. 4 kills in his back pocket. Has picked up every single one from all of these ganks so far. Certainly much better than having it on a Sejuani. So probably we'll use that to justify next week's Champ Select lock-in. But it looks good so far. Gold lead very close to one another. 400 gold is the difference, but doesn't mean all that much only 7 minutes into the game.
Look, I was saying with Bombers, it felt like this roster change was going to be a little bit of downfall for them, but again, they're just proving me wrong. As long as they have the core 3, they're still happy. Zank changing roles, Gamble joining the team. They're doing fine with Bombers.
Yeah.
In fact, they're doing better than fine so far.
Yeah, looking good so far. The one downside is the bottom lane right now. A bit of a CS discrepancy
And
kind of
mid.
accruing, and Andrew hasn't burnt his TP yet, so went for the first reset to get the boots. Has the TP to probably get himself back onto the map right now and potentially do a dragon, but return gank once again to top side. Kweku in a bit of danger.
Dragon's out by bot, doesn't really matter. Seb going to commit to this one. Kweku again uses the double dash. Seb wanting to go under the turret. Still has his ultimate available.
Okay, he's able to pick that one up with the back end. Triumph. He's going to come through, heal him up a little bit, but turret was not enough to take him down. Air Dragon is the response, but for a Renekton that picked up 2 very early kills from the cleanups, this is 2 quick succession deaths that Seb has been able to find access to, and top lane trending onwards and upwards here for the Bombers.
So remember when we were talking about the Yuumi where it's either I do great or I do bad? Feels the same for Kindred. Once Kindred comes online, it's scary. Seb is really just walking up top, making the plays. Has been top that he's mostly turned his attention to. Not even going to try in this bot lane.
Yeah, they haven't even looked at bottom side of the map. They're just like, yeah, you guys are slowly
Just
being
mid-top.
pushed in. Yes, CS discrepancy is happening, but turret isn't dying quick at all. That's a single plate in just about 8.5 minutes. Certainly not going their direction. But you can kind of expect, anytime you look at an 80 carry build and they have a Kerchi shard, you're like, oh, that's a rough lane. That's not going well at all.
I haven't been able to farm because Sivir is being a butt.
Yep.
Andrew on the flip side finished his boots already. Also got the pickaxe, not opting to sink all that gold into a EF sword just yet.
And you can
Doesn't
see
matter.
Ubisoft kind of dodged out from the vision to escape there, and they didn't know if he was still around for the play. No ward available for the Bombers' bottom lane means they just have to concede complete priority to the turret. So
Seb
just
on
as I say, the turret is not going down quickly. They get another 2 plates off the back end.
just to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Cast his curse. Seb was in the bot lane. He did get spotted by that deep ward from Corporal. Just means that if he did want to do a gang, not that he had any interest in, he could still do it. Spotting out a ward as well. As he roams on.
Very hard to set up on the bottom side, but looking once again at the mid lane. Of course, Bushy Boo Boo had the pink and did walk over, so I expect that they're unsure that Seb is around. But here comes gank attempt number 3 in the mid lane. First 2 successful. This one, not going to be the case.
Get back, just walking back safely. Ubisoft was there on hand, a lot closer this time, with full health, if he needed to be called upon. Seb has that mark on the rise as well, perhaps why he did want to make that attempt on to get back and waste a couple of seconds.
Yeah, has 3 marks already, which is definitely ahead of the curve for a Kindred. Probably got a lot of them from champions, given that he's farmed champions a lot more than he has farmed his camps so far. Ubisoft has done fairly well at denying camps on the other side of the map every time Kindred shows up, but that's not in spite of the fact that the ganks have been successful, so certainly not falling behind is the Kindred at all at this stage. You do see a couple of different builds, and normally you see Warrior into Bork or Devourer into Black Cleaver. Seb's going straight down the middle here. He's got Devourer into what is probably going to be the Bork pickup, so mega attack speed, but oh!
Sure, he wanted to go in, but Corporal with the shield, completely denying him. Doesn't really matter, still knocks him against the wall. Grom ultimate is the response. Ubisoft going in, the Cataclysm will secure the kill. Now Seb, forced to use his ultimate very, very early, surrounded completely by the members of Diacup.
Tries to go
for the escape. It essentially does get it. Bushy Boo Boo is left, though, to the Wolf. Get back, gets the shutdown onto him, and Gamble is stuck between all the boys with no help, forcing the flash. The flag and drag is out, the binding does land. It's a double kill to Get Back.
And call a spade. That is just the wackest team fight I have ever seen in my life. Shaw starts it off. He actually wants to get out of the play, then decides to go back in for the fight, but Diacubs at the end of that one pick up Seb, they pick up Gamble, and pick up Shaw on the Poppy as well. They come up with everything. Low health bars, yes, but this is going to be the Rift Herald taken as with bot turret. They just wiped the floor with the bombers.
It's like open season. I just didn't even know what I was
Yeah,
watching.
that was...
I'm like, okay, so Seb has escaped jokes. Get Back just ran him down.
Yeah, that was like, Shaw, like, starts off the fight, is like, no, I don't want this.
Yeah,
oh, wait, yes, I do.
Away. And then he was like, oh, it doesn't matter if my ult didn't.
Gamble gets to the fight, and he's like, come on, boys, we can do it. Oh, they realm walked out.
No.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, I'm going to hit the stopwatch. That was almost a comedy of errors there from the bomber side of the coin, and
it's all right. They can still
lost
recover
a lot of tempo.
this one.
Yeah.
They did lose tempo, yes, and they did give up a free Rift Herald. It doesn't
Free
help
turret.
them, but they can still recover from this.
Yeah, Gold Lead now swings into the favor of the Diacubs. 3,000 out of almost nowhere, given that it was incredibly close before that point. And I feel like the big thing with this is not necessarily like, yes, they got a bunch of kills, the Gold Lead is the difference. It's the fact that Seb was like setting up a play on the map, and he now loses complete control. Like, he was a 5-2 Kindred that every single gank was working, and everywhere he walked, something was happening. He was getting another kill, getting another mark, and walking away. This is the first time that something hasn't worked out for Kindred this game, and walks top side, they lose the team fight. Now kind of swings back towards the bottom side. Is certainly on track to complete his walk well ahead of time, but not the fight the Bombers were looking for.
They're fighting for vision control towards the blue buff, making sure that doesn't go over
Ooh,
on the
Seb
side of
wants
Diacubs. Good trade by Seb. Lots of damage coming on out.
Yeah.
Still has the mark on the rise.
Red Smite does so much damage. They Get Back getting chomped by Wolf and Lamb in all honesty. Very nice spell shield there.
Good finding directly on target for Andrew. Now he gets his mana back, and Corporal as well, ready to follow up.
I also like, I have to compliment, the little things that Andrew just did. The fact that he was going to dodge the binding and not intentionally eat it with the spell shield, very good sign. A lot of Civers see a skill shot flying at them and they try and catch it. And it's like, okay, well done, you've caught the spell, you've caught the binding, now you have no spell shield and you can't hit the turret after that point because you're going to get hit with something else. But Andrew did kind of use it at the last possible second there, so dodges out, realizes he's not going to make it, burns the spell shield as necessary, but the little things certainly do matter.
It's very in sync. Diacubs, it doesn't matter if they fall behind. They're just very, very cool, calm, and collected at all times. I never see them getting fully flustered.
Rift Herald is popped without a wave.
Yeah,
She's here to defend.
That's more gold straight into the Diacubs' pockets.
It's going to be timing out on the plating there in about 5 seconds, so they didn't actually want to set up for the turret, just wanted to get the plates before they were gone forever. Very nicely played to drop that one. Mid-turret incredibly low, but this is a lot of members around mid lane, and that's another dead Get Back.
In the jungle, Get Back is actually the one to get caught. They actually bully off the rest of the members of Diacub so that they can secure this turret. Do have Ubisoft. He's wrestling with Red. He's decided his team wants him to come. It doesn't matter. It's fallen now. He was like, I'm going to come defend. No, I'm going to go finish Red. No, I'm going to come and defend. It was like a bit of...
Doing the happy feet.
You're doing the happy feet.
The happy feet between all the
camps.
camps.
Can't make up your mind.
And kind of torn between two places. Unfortunately, lost the turret. No ability to contest that one, which is interesting, right? Like, you looked at that mid plane, it's like, wow, Diacubs just threw Rift Herald into mid lane. Bomber's turret is 2 hits from dying the next wave. That it crashes certainly could be going down, but Bombers find themselves a nice little pick onto Get Back. Once again, this game has had a lot of jungle attention and certainly not the trajectory you would have liked for Diacubs fans here, but still maintaining that gold lead, about 3,000.
Doing a very good job of just farming it up. Doesn't matter if he keeps dying, as long as he knows he keeps that farm, starts to scale. Late game Rise is just horrifying. I hate it. Feels like you're on a timer with him.
Yes, it does. I will have to... What's the word I'm looking for? Vehemently disagree. I feel
Vehemently.
I feel like deaths, for the layman out there, deaths are the easiest thing to fix in your game, and they're super impactful. More so than anything else. If you could, like, deny a death or get a kill, you should deny a death 100% of the time. Losing access to farm, XP, and gold on the map, and tempo bleeds very quickly into other lanes and stuff like that. So if you're at home, you're playing solo queue, you're stuck at a certain rank or whatever, I feel like the most general, like, non-specific advice you could ever follow that will probably be successful is genuinely, if you go through, and I've actually had this conversation with a professional player, if you go through your OPGG history and look at your KDAs, and you removed, like, a single death point from, like, your average KDA, from, like, every one of your, like, the champions that you play, let's say you have a champ pool of 4 champs or whatever, if you could remove, like, a single death from that average, your game gets infinitely better. You're probably removing something like 15-20% of your deaths. The numbers get gross very quickly.
Flash.
Gross binding.
The binding actually does land onto Kweku, who's being completely surrounded. There's nothing he can do. He's going to fall very easily over to the Bombers.
Yep, turret is going to be the trade here for the Dire Cubs, as they did lose their top laner. Flank actually is here from Bushy Boo Boo. He wants the fight. Get Back is now looking for something as well, but Silas going in.
Cataclysm locking up Corporal. He has the dash. Andrew is trying to kite on out as Corporal is being completely locked. The Cataclysm, the responding Cataclysm goes on out. Ubisoft forced to use the Pocket Watch, just stalling for time. He does get the flag. He doesn't have the flash. The rest of the members of Bombers know that he's cornered and get the kill.
Silas able to pick that one up. You mentioned stalling for time. He does buy enough for the Realm Warp to get Back and the rest of the members to safety off the back line. So, Dire Cubs, they do only lose the one at the back end of that play. But they certainly didn't find access to the mid turret. So incredibly low. That's a couple of minions auto attacks away from going down, but... It's
kind of a shame. So when we were talking about the deaths and don't die, funny, I have to agree with you 100%. When people are like, what should I do in League? I'm like, literally, just don't die.
Yeah.
But Corporal and Andrew, they actually used their ult a lot earlier on in an engage in the river. That's also why that fight was... Bombers' time to shine, really.
They didn't really want to turn around. They didn't have the cooldowns. And Siva, Braum, Jarvan. I feel like Jarvan actually used his one, but...
It was, both. It's always confusing with Silas. I'm like, okay, now whose ultimate is this? Is this the mirror or is this that one?
Yeah. Sometimes hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's also kind of like, League of Legends, like, at a game, if you're walking past someone playing, it's like a very digestible game based on, like, the abilities are, like, very distinct in what they're doing. Silas adds this other element. As soon as he's in the game, like, that is just no longer true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that fact no longer holds true for every game of League of Legends ever. And especially with Nico as well. Like, 2 very new champions, and it's like, okay, all of a sudden there's 2 of the same champion on the Rift. There's 2 of the same ulti on the Rift. There's a bunch of weird stuff.
So many times in solo queue when they think they're versing this other lane, they're like, why is the support up top? And they're like, right, Nico.
Kind of zooming around, a little bit of the mind games here. Dire Cubs kind of opting in.
Death bushing.
For a little bit of a trade
on the
here.
Side. Yep, pushing up now into that mid lane, forcing back Seb and Gamble. Trying to clear the minions with the help of Bushy Boo Boo.
Binding,
and
very
binding
nice.
under the turret lands onto Corporal. He takes a little bit of damage, but being the tanky Braum that he is, he can back out.
Yep, Shield is able to deny any of that follow-up as Andrew is able to pick up the red buff. Ubisoft leashed for him. It is going to be Zenk, though, yeah. Doesn't have TP, so this dragon is just going to be straight up gone. But can they get the Inatara for it?
So seeing what trade that they can do. Get Back actually did recall. Going to try and at least stall this one out and just prevent Zenk from getting another free turret.
Has Realm Warp, but does he choose to use it to get towards the play? Minion Wave is falling dangerously thin.
Mountain Drake going over to Dire Cubs. There was going to be no contest there, especially not with Zenk in the top lane. Get Back actually stalled on out. Zenk will get another turret.
Well, I feel like actually very nice play from both of the top side of the map. Kindred and Morgana walking up there just basically secured the turret there for the Kai. So no ability for Get Back to walk into the 1v3 and be able to contest that. So does have to concede it, and rightfully does so. So doesn't walk into his own death. Got himself a Mountain Dragon on the other side of the coin. Certainly going to serve them well. Sivir and Ryze are 2 carries that can one-hit Baron if it comes down to it, if they ever get themselves access. So certainly is a boon to carry forward in this game. 20 minutes though, Baron is spawning.
It's still so close. Despite that slight mix-up that we saw in the top jungle with the Bombers and a bit of that Clown Fiesta fight, they've really pulled it back quite nicely.
Yeah, did swing the gold heavily in Daikub's favor, but as you mentioned, yeah, 2,000 now between them. Hasn't really grown from that point onwards. I feel like Kweku is now having a harder time dealing with Poppy in the side lane. And I say that in kind of a weird way, but Kweku just isn't making progress. He doesn't want to fight the Poppy, because eventually, like, Poppy's just going to have the armor, just going to tank it up, clear the wave, and then just reset back to the rest of the fight. He's not far enough ahead. That's an engage.
Corporal needing to try and save it, stalling out so much damage. Braum, actually, with the ultimate means that Andrew can get the first kill, and they're going to pick up another one. Daikub's turning this fight 2 for none.
Yeah, they pick up 2
Sorry,
kills.
2 for 1.
Zenk is still in danger, though. Ubisoft doesn't have vision.
Cataclysm comes out, Zenk has to flash on out, kiting Ubisoft.
Yeah, but the problem... Oh, Get Back!
The Get Back across the wall takes him out, and now he's stunned. Shaw is there, but on the flip side, they're trying to re-engage. Shaw is so incredibly tanky.
Seb has...
Oh. And he does eventually fall. With 4 members hammering down onto him, he does. Seb uses the ultimate finally to get away with his life. Get Back blindly tries to get the projectile, doesn't hit.
Yeah, and that was so weird looking. Get Back, a little bit of a visual bug. Flashes over the wall, picks up the extra kill on the back end of that one. But the problem was Seb just was not at the fight. Bombers need to be standing on top of the Kindred ulti to be able to turn this one around.
Gamble trying to stall them from getting back.
Bushy's here.
Getting a little bit of that heal.
Smite to secure it, so undeniable vision around the Baron pit means there will be no response from the Bombers and able to start that one up, given that the reset has to come through from the Daikubs, but they just got a little bit of everything. Seb split from the rest of the team. They just chased them through the jungle. It looked like a pick for Bombers, but was not the case at the end of the day.
Andrew has impeccable AD carry sense. There's always his positioning and the way he can hide. I don't know, I really like watching his AD carry.
Yeah.
I do. And then also Corporal, to have that trust in each other, they're such a good duo.
Yeah, I feel like, genuinely, that was a big compliment I had of them. Like, coming into the OPL split game, Season 1, you're like, okay, these guys, I don't think they're contesting with, like, the best bottom lanes in the OPL.
Yeah, like FBI
But
Rogue,
synergy-wise, they do a ton of little things very well together. Zenk, please don't do it to me. Good. But, like, they actually work very well together, and I feel like lanes like Lucian Braum, lanes like...
Oh, very, very aggressive play from Zenk. He knows that Seb is there to back him out. Andrew forced to use the ultimate. Corporal is there to stop any further engage.
Yeah, and as I was saying, like, lanes like Zaya Rakan, like the Sona Taric, they're very good at, but continuing the engage.
He's keen. No binding was available just yet. A couple of free hits on that mid turret.
Yeah. Very tanky Poppy is able to lock down that one for just the time being. Bought enough
Campbell
time.
tanking a lot of the turret, but it does the job. They do manage to get that mid turret.
Yeah, Get Back, split pushing in the side lane. Bought them enough time to take down the turret.
Sneaky binding onto Andrew.
Yeah.
Just hits on the maximum range.
Very nice. Kind of weaved it between all the creeps there.
That's
Also a weird skin.
Which one?
Morgana's.
It's that light Morgana one, right? Like where she's, because Kale, Morgana's sisters, whatever, and it's like to match before she became a fallen angel.
Is it new or is it
No,
old and been
old.
reworked? Yeah, because is it? If I don't know the name of it, but if it's the one I'm thinking of, I genuinely haven't seen that skin post rework.
No one, yeah, no one likes it.
Yeah. Oh, fight actually breaking out.
In the jungle over here, it's going to be Ubisoft trying to use the Cataclysm, but he actually gets a little bit more than he bargains for. He's very, very low. Seb wants to try and get it. He forces the ulti. It's going to be stalling. Who's going to be first to fall? Bushy Boo Boo, he's trapped in the other Cataclysm. Ubisoft falls as a 1-for-1.
Yeah, and Daikubs maybe bit off a little bit more than they can chew, going deep into enemy territory, but Kindred ulti buys just enough time. It is just a 1-for-1 trade across the board. Re-engage happening here from Corporal. Sivir ulti popped.
Andrew uses the ultimate. Shaw is so tanky. He doesn't even care.
Nice.
He goes for the re-engage. On to Get Back, who's getting chunked, but so too. Now does Poppy. Shaw is next to fall.
Yeah, the follow-up just wasn't there. They do have double 80 carries, but Zenk not willing to commit to the play. Seb has the dash to get himself forward. Shaw looked for the re-engage, was not on the same page as the rest of his team, and Daikubs pick up a cheeky little extra kill off the back end of that play. Dragon to boot, and going to add it to the other repertoire.
So that 2k gold lead that was looking so good, the Bombers finally managed to stem. Now it's starting to widen. These small plays are really adding up from the Dire Cubs.
Yeah, it certainly is. These fights are so close. 3,000 gold is the lead between the two teams, and certainly not showing in how the team fights are playing. And execution means so much more than the gold lead right now. Item breakpoints kind of hit across the board. Kai'Sa on 2, Sivir on 2. Both mid laners
Look at that gold breakdown. Look at Andrew versus Zank. Woo.
Yeah.
Also mid laners.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's like heading into the 5 digits.
Top lane, given what happened early,
They are most impactful in these
isn't
fights.
the biggest lead. And I feel like you're definitely correct, right? If Get Back and Andrew can get a front-to-back team fight, they can just shred. Because, like, yes, you look at Bombers comp and it's like, oh, okay, we have the Kindred ulti, we can keep everyone alive. But then, as soon as it pops, Ryze can hit genuinely everyone if he's prepped it, and Sivir gets to ricochet through genuinely everyone. So it's very difficult for the Bombers to go even in a team fight and use the reset of that Lamb's Respite and then come out favorably on the other end. It's probably going to be much more likely they get a pick with a binding, or Dire Cubs are going to watch the team fight, and you're kind of seeing that play out, right? Bushy Boob is looking to split off the side coming from a flank, as is Shaw, whereas Dire Cubs, they're much more happy to just play straight front to back.
Dire Cubs still biding their time. Baron has been on the map for about 5 minutes, but neither team has turned their attention onto it just yet. All of these fights are happening in the jungle.
Yeah, Vision now in control of the Bombers, which is surprising. Kweku dealing with the bottom wave as best as possible, just looking to push that one in and provide some pressure right now. Dire Cubs have access to mid lane, though.
Kweku has his TP up as well, so if they're in a pinch, can do. Now they're doing the dance around Baron, trading. And the dance begins.
Yeah,
Always get to this point.
Oh, it's just League of Legends.
Yeah.
Unless you're just running it down in solo queue.
Oh no, don't even. Everyone's at the computer screen. I'm like, no, too real.
But mid wave is highly contested. That's an ulti. Seb's in
spotting
danger.
out Seb on that ward, seeing if they can get enough of the vision. And now turning their attention onto Zhang. That's going to be Ubisoft with the Cataclysm. He needs to back on out, but the teleport is here. Kweku is already first to try and heal.
Guns him.
Kweku gets the stun. This time, it's going to be Ubisoft who falls. Rest of the members locked in that Cataclysm. Gamble has to do the stopwatch. That's going to be Kweku who's next to fall. Kindred's ultimate, the Lamb's Respite, keeps him alive, but they need to back on out. Kindred falls. Shaw needs to disengage. Andrew's still very, very healthy. Corporal trying to CC him in spot, and it works.
And exactly like that, Lamb's Respite comes through, Get Back sets up the play, and they immediately turn that around. That was a 3 versus 4, but Sivir and Ryze still being alive meant Dire Cubs, they're still willing to contest these fights, walking towards the Baron without a jungler. Yes, 8 seconds on the death timers, but they have all the vision control in the world. Bombers are walking over. Binding is a tool they can use to contest this one. Heal is still available. That's just dead Morgana.
That's going to be Gamble who gets taken out. Get Back still very, very healthy, protecting the backline. Corporal is low. Baron is at about 2k health. Bushy in amongst it, forced to use a pop watch, but it's Zank who gets taken out by Get Back. The ace comes through.
Yeah, Baron barely just resets, but now Ubisoft arrives. Didn't regen that much HP. Dire Cubs, 2 back-to-back team fights. The victories, the TPs, the returns, and that's a Baron and that's a gold lead.
Andrew just dancing constantly, just out of reach. But in saying that, you have to get through Kweku, you have to get through Ubisoft, and then you have Corporal as well, just to add even more of a wall.
Because once again, that team fight looked good for the Bombers. The hard commit onto Seb, he gets away with murder, kind of walks back around, re-engages, and Shaw lands the stun onto Ubisoft post-Gargoyle proc. So Jarvan just dies immediately, but because they're focusing all of their efforts onto taking down the Jarvan, you see Andrew just free hitting, ricocheting through everyone. Get Back is doing exactly the same, and once the team fight isn't over in a snap, the consistent damage just outshines for the Dire Cubs.
I think Andrew went 11-2 on Xayah last week, and now he's 6-0 on the Sivir, but 100 CS above. Almost. I mean, I have to make it sound like 100, because it sounds amazing.
I mean, it's 100 this wave. He's going to pick that one up and
get the one.
Straight up Flame Horizoning his opponent here.
Like, that's
feels good, man.
Yeah. But that just shows the hard yards. And it doesn't matter, like Ubisoft, Corporal, Kweku, they're happy to lay down their lives as long as they can keep these guys who are dishing their damage, who are winning the team fights.
Yeah, and Get Back started this game 0-2, was getting mega bullied out by the Kindred, and really was that early skirmish, turned the tide over to the Dire Cubs, and once they had the gold lead, really haven't relented here. 8-3 now on the rise. Completely turnaround game here for Get Back. And double carry threat, Andrew and Get Back been playing together for a very long time. Inhib now being broken here for the Diacubs.
Making very short work of that bottom turret. The inhibitor is soon to fall. And Diacubs back on out, happy with that one. Seeing what else they can pressure. Kweku already priming the mid lane.
And Seb cancelled his recall from topside as well, so he's still another 8 seconds away from being at this fight. First Inhib falls won't even be at the crash of this wave, so Diacubs have another opportunity. A little bit of damage here onto the turret. Do they want to commit for it?
Kweku takes a little bit of damage, doesn't matter. They can still escort that cannon minion. It's just out of the reach of bombers. And now, with this next wave, surely it's going to fall. The binding is good, but no one can follow up. No one wants to follow up. And just one Q from Andrew chunks Bushy and Gamble.
Couple of auto attacks is all it takes now. 2 Inhibs fallen down. The front line, you can see Kweku and Ubisoft just straight up standing in front of the carries. That's just depressing as a bottom lane, getting left behind. They have to walk the long way around.
Hop in. I said hop in.
Turret does fall down and the entire ring, or inner ring rather, is broken. Double inhib's gone. Very effective usage of Baron by the Diacubs.
So Seb priming that top lane means that they couldn't quite push in, but still 2 inhibitors down. Huge gold lead starting to happen, and you still have the problem of Andrew and Get Back to deal with.
Yeah. And it is like a multi-carry threat versus a one-carry threat. Right? Like the Kindred sitting 8-4, Devourer, Bork, IE, and Rapid. Weird build, but he dishes out damage. Critting, auto attack speed off the charts, but unfortunately it is just onto the one member, whereas both the Sitter and the Rise get to hit multiple there, and one man is looking like not enough to deal with the 2 of Diacubs. Have the front line to boot, and now no Baron needed when you have 2 inhibs, just looking to set up top side of the map and completely steamroll down this one remaining lane.
There's just no burst to take down Andrew as well. In the race of consistent damage, Andrew's already just laughing at him. He's very close to finishing his 6th item. He has the stopwatch in no real hurry to build that Guardian Angel just yet.
He's got a spell shield, got a stopwatch, has a redemption, a Knight's Vow, and literally has a Braum to stand behind of. So a lot of things going the way of Diacubs 80 carry and certainly putting on work right now. Last lane remaining.
Baron totally expired, but doesn't mean that Diacubs are going to be stopped. They're just taking the slow but sure route to victory.
Can Andrew realistically hit the turret? The answer is yes, as Bushy just pops her an extra ulti.
Couple of orders from Seb. You can see that damage that you were talking about onto Ubisoft. Shore is going for a little bit of the Door of the Explorer. Just thinking about a play. They
does have flash.
Gamble!
What?
No. Maybe DC.
I don't want to call it, but that looked like lag. That was...
Seb having to use the ultimate. The flag and drag is there. Cataclysm locking up both members. Zank falls. Shore has got no team to defend. Bushu Boo Boo is there. And Diacubs, they say thank you very much for this win.
I am so upset. That was a sad way to go. That was just a sad way to go. Kweku gets dogged by the boys. First it was the bottom lane, now it's the top laner. But that just, look, I don't think it mattered. I think that game was over. I think Gamble probably would have died, but he genuinely, he just keeps going, and then eventually,
I'm just giving him the.
He died.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. It felt like lag.
That, I mean, it
has to be. It has to be.
I played a lot of games of League of Legends. That looked like lag. That's look, you hate to see it. You really hate to see it. But what was in otherwise actually a fairly close game, right?
It really was. They were bringing it blow for blow from the early, from the mid. Yes, we had that weird fight at the beginning.
That was the turning point. That was it. As soon as Seb died once, right, it went from 5-2 to 5-3 on the Kindred.
It just kind of started adding up.
The train didn't get back on the rails.
Yeah.
Like it was from that point they were losing bottom side. Get Back sort of has some time to get back into the game. Diacubs from then on out.
See what you did there. But it also just felt like you could see the cracks coming through in terms of late game. They just had no assassin for Andrew as well. And in a battle of the consistent damage, when they're grouping up like that, Get Back is like, thank you very much for standing in the Kindred ult.
Front to back gets ahead, and unfortunately team fights go one way very quickly. But that was the Diacubs picking up the victory over the Bombers despite a rough early game. Last game of the day is coming up after this 3-minute break. I'm going to get my pen. See you there.